Hi, I'm Ray, co-founder of Scayul, and it's my pleasure to have Martin Zeruto, one of the highest performing sales directors I know. So, Martin, tell us your day job, what your day job is.
Yeah, so I'm a director of enterprise sales at Quartile. So really, my day to day consists of maybe three things. One, working with our VP and our CRO and our internal SDR team to kind of um, outbound and create activity that allows us to not only make our presence known to those top of the funnel who may not know what Quartile does. Quartile, of course, is the world's largest cross channel ad management platform for e commerce. And for those who know a little bit about us, our job also is to introduce the tech to them. My job is to ensure that, positioning our solutions to match up with some of the challenges that they may have when it comes to either ad efficiency or ad performance. So I think that's number one, is really getting out there and helping people understand who we are and what we do. When it comes to Google ads, Amazon ads, Walmart, Instacart, Criteo, so on, so on and so forth. Number two, I think, is creating awareness through different activities like this, going on webinars, going on podcasts, going to events. Last week I was at Super Zoo in Vegas, the world's largest, I think, pet conference for brands and retailers and manufacturers. And so, so what? Creating outbound activity, letting people know who we are, what we do. Number two, generating content and, taking advantage of opportunities both online and offline to meet new people. And then number three really is to close deals and nurture relationships, both on the brand side, the aggregator side, or the agency side. Quartile is pretty flexible when it comes to providing solutions, whether you're a direct seller, somebody who's selling, a brand owner yourself, somebody who owns an agency and is managing multiple brands, or maybe you're a larger holding company or aggregator where you're, it's kind of a combination of both, where you own multiple brands or perhaps multiple agencies. So yeah, that's kind of what I do, is try and nurture relationships, get out there, get the word out on who we are, what we do, and truly, truly try and provide a solution that works for people who are in need.
Wow. So, how do referrals play into your day to day?
So, as anybody is aware, when it comes to sales, outbound is difficult. It's a numbers game. However many cold calls you make for your team makes however many cold emails or outreaches. I think there's a book, I forgot who wrote it, but it's like 33 touch points. Like you have to, that you have to touch them on LinkedIn, on social media, text them, call them, email them, in every which way that you can kind of maintain um, their attention and interest, to hopefully turn into a book call, to hopefully turn into a demo, to hopefully turn into a proposal, and then they eventually become, a client. And so that method has been around for a while, and it's very difficult because if I'm sending 1,000 emails and Ray's sending 1,000 emails, somebody else is sending 1,000 emails, and I'm sure everybody, that's what the spam folder is for, is to collate and aggregate all of this outbound noise. And it's difficult to break through. For me, I used to actually work at I used to run an agency with a partner of mine, and we had employed a wide variety of different outbound tactics, whether it was hiring our own in-house SDRs, making cold calls and trying to create these relationships online, whether it was hiring an agency that was writing these cold emails for us and blasting it across different places around the world, ourselves doing our own outbound activity and trying to nurture and create relationships personally. So yeah, we've tried everything. And for me, at least in my experience in e-commerce and in sales, warm referrals and intros, I think, is number one. Absolutely the best method and approach to not only finding those who may be in need, or at least being preferred people who might be in need, but also being able to genuinely create relationships. It's difficult to connect with somebody authentically and really show that you have a sincere interest in their brand and in their product, and a sincere want to help them when it comes to their ads, when it comes to their sales. That's hard to get through in a cold email or a cold call or what have you. And so referrals and intros really allows, at least for me, enables me to connect with people authentically and see if there's something there that we can help with. I hope that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So, how did you get your latest referral?
So I was using Scale, and a buddy of mine, James, introduced me to his buddy, Toby. Toby runs an agency, and never would have met Toby, had it not been for this introduction. And, you know, James had a list of contacts on his Scale page. I had a list of contacts on my Scale page, and we were kind of just exchanging introductions through the platform, super duper easy. And that introduction with Toby led to a close. Well, I believe he just signed 2 days ago, and now they're using Quartile. And I want to say the sales cycle, which is traditionally like 3 to 5 months on the enterprise level, this thing closed in like a week, a week and a
Wow.
half, if that. And I'm not saying every single deal is going to close at a week and a half. You know, when you start to get to significant ad spend, obviously requires maybe, you know, RFP and a longer, you know, vetting process. But this one was relatively quick. And I think the power of Scale was evident in my ability to meet him really quickly, kind of start off on the right foot because it wasn't a warm introduction through, you know, somebody in Toby's network. And we kind of launched it off from there, and allowed me and allowed Toby to get to know each other very, very quickly and establish that trust. And then once that trust was established, you know, we start digging down into drilling down how can, you know, Quartile provide solutions. And he was vetting other solutions as well. You know, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like a layup where it was like, hey, this guy's gonna switch and he just wants to switch to Quartile. You know, it was very much still a sales process and a sales cycle, but very much condensed and incredibly easier.
Yeah, so that trust, it definitely helped having that middle person there.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. So he's definitely turned into a prospect, and you've
Yeah,
managed
and
to
I'd want to say, Ray, too, he's turned into a prospect, but he's also turned into a friend. Like, we still message each other, you know, on WhatsApp. You know, he's obviously in a different time zone than I am, so it's like as I'm going to sleep, he's waking up, and vice versa. And yeah, very cool guy, and I appreciate that beyond just closing a deal, you know, we're able to relate, you know, like human to human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you definitely, because I actually had that question written down, like
Oh,
how
nice.
does Scale fit into the process? But you've just basically outlined how you've just used that, and
Yeah. You know,
yeah,
at the end of the day,
made
right,
that
people
work.
want to work with people they like. And intros and referrals don't come by easy. So not everybody has a gigantic network, right? So you got to start somewhere. And being able to be positioned in a, you know, in a more favorable position because you're being referred by somebody who you trust. Hey, Ray, I really need somebody to help me uh you know, take care of these hedges outside. They're just all over the place. Like, do you know somebody? Ray will tell me, hey, you should meet Mike. Mike is the best guy to do hedges. And so for me, instead of me going on Google or going through my spam and seeing if anybody's tried to prospect me on, you know, landscaping, like Ray said, Mike is his guy. So if Mike is his guy, then I want Mike to be my guy. And now I'm talking to Mike and like, hey, Mike, Ray tells me that you're really good with landscaping, but hey, how did you meet Ray? And then we start finding out about your you know, your relationship, your friendship, and your professional, you know, experiences together. And so for me, I find that super duper interesting. You know, I'm not just like sitting here looking to the camera and like pretending like I care about what you say. It's honestly very captivating for me to meet people new, you know, every day. And if there's the context of a referral or an intro, it makes it all the more beneficial. We're not just here talking about whatever. How can I help you? And hopefully you're a nice person, because I think I'm a nice person, and hopefully nice people continue to meet each other through Scale and close deals.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so good that you've mentioned that. So do you see the future of sales being a blend of partnerships and marketing?
100%. I mean, I think that exists today, but there's, you know, mileage may vary. Everybody has different tech stacks and approaches to full funnel marketing and generating, you know, opportunities and turning them into, you know, leads that actually convert. It's difficult in this day and age to find your ICP because the landscape, you know, especially in e-commerce, is always changing. So I think, is this the future? I mean, it's the present, but I think the future, as we lean more into, you know, automated solutions, digital solutions, whether it's instead of blasting 10,000 emails, Ray, you can now blast 10 million. And instead of us writing it for you, Chat GPT will write it for you. Some sort of large language model will be able to customize our approach so that you can really, you know, like, all of that is fantastic. And at the end of the day, you know, of course, sales will always be a numbers game. We all have our quotas. We all have our goals. But it's still a human being that is making that decision, right? I don't think in the near future, brands and companies, especially startups, or those who really monitor where they put their marketing dollars, is going to automate that decision process, right?
Yeah.
Because if you tell me, Martin, option A and option B are your two choices when it comes to cleaning your landscaping issue, right? Option A, AI is telling you, man, that's the way to go. But option B is Mike. I like Mike. Mike's done my stuff before. He did a great job. Option A may be cheaper. They might be do it faster. They may have a whole bunch of benefits. But at the end of the day, when I go to sleep, I want to be like, you know what? Me and Mike have a solid relationship. I want to keep working with Mike. So I think that's the future, really, of not just partnerships and marketing, but that's really the future and will continue to be the future of e-commerce. We're drilling down on automated and digital and AI solutions, which is great. Efficiencies is great. But at the end of the day, specifically in sales, it's all about the human-to-human connection, right? The decision makers being made by a human being, and the sales process is being initiated and facilitated by a human being, and the solutions are being generated through the creativity that humans, have. And it's not always just going to be about what is the most digitally sound automated solution. Now, Quartile offers that, thankfully. So it's like the best of both worlds, where you're able to really approach ad efficiency and conversions at a very granular and specific and digital and AI, hourly bid optimization, blah, blah, blah. Like all of that stuff is fantastic, right? But it's definitely tech plus team. It's the best of the digital automated solution, as well as really great experts. Same thing with sales, same thing with Scale. Scale is the automated solution to intros, but it's still up to you as a human being to nurture and turn those introductions and referrals into actual business, and hopefully into future friendships and future partnerships that will obviously facilitate the growth of your personal network on the platform.
Wow. So that pretty much is the conclusion of the questions that I had today.
Sure.
Was there anything else you'd like to share with our guests that will be watching online?
I'd like to ask you a question. Why did you start Scale? Where did the idea come from, and how do we get to this point today where we're doing your first webinar? And thank you so much for having me as your guest.
Yeah. So just a bit about my background. Scale was like, we were just overhearing that one of our sales friends was talking about, he's experiencing frustration with following up intros.
Right.
Also, like, he keeps a tally of who's giving his intro because he just wants to make sure that he's getting what he's providing as well, just to show, because there's a bit of trust that's happening there. So sometimes it also causes friction, because if someone hasn't sent it, you don't really want to cause friction to the relationship.
Correct.
So this helps. So we thought of, maybe we can somehow look for something that we could build and make this a bit easier, just to reduce a bit of friction that's people would experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Consider me an investor. No, I'm just kidding. Half kidding.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a great platform, and I appreciate everything you guys have been able to do so far. I know that you guys are just up and running and just starting, but I'm very excited and feel very fortunate and blessed to be part of this initial journey. And yeah, more power to Scale and everything that you guys are trying to do. For me, I use it every single day. Hopefully you don't tell this to everybody, because I'd love this to kind of be like my secret weapon in trying to be able to, not only grow my network, but close deals. But, it's a great platform, and it definitely is an easier, simpler mousetrap when it comes to trying to find leads and hopefully close deals and make new friends along the way.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Martin. So that's pretty much the end of this podcast. I mean, webinar.
Sure.
But yeah, I definitely will catch up with you later on.
No, I appreciate it. If anybody here who's listening needs some ad help, please just reach out to me on LinkedIn, Martin Zeruto, or you can reach me, martin.zeruto@quartile.com. Also,
I'll be adding Martin Zeruto on my Scale page, and I'll share that in the description. So
you mean it's not there already, Ray? You're breaking my heart.
I'll definitely have it after this webinar.
There you go. And then I'll be requesting intros right after this recording.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ray.
All right. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Bye.